All right, guys. Let's do a little recap. Tell me what happened.
All right, so Birdie and Tate Clay successfully, so they believe, successfully fooled the reigning rangers into thinking that they were heading back to town, but then they doubled back through the woods and came upon a row of barbed wire with a patrol path eroded around it, which we believe is where the rangers have been setting up their patrols. We cut a way through, found an old dilapidated shack with a corpse and a tin that contained a partial note because some of the stuff had been faded away or burned away. And it had to do with, Sadesky, why don't you fill us in on that?
A delivery of something. Mr. Dr. Childs. Something was missing something, but they had suits ready and a capture device.
There was also
Dorian.
dynamite, wasn't there? Wasn't there a mention of dynamite?
My handwriting's not that bad.
Yeah,
Dynam. So they're either something as dynamic, i.e. ever-changing or evolving, or they're talking about dynamite. I'm guessing the latter.
Power core.
It could be a dynamic power core, but this is 1910?
Well, yeah, it could just be a company.
1911?
A company that gives you power.
Huh. Possible. I'm thinking there are explosives afoot, but what do I know? So yeah, we made it to a shack, and that's where we found these little clues. And then we continued on, and we found the remains of an older ranger tower station that had clearly been there for a decade plus, if not more. And it was totally run over and bad. But I do believe we found some more cigarette butts there.
Correct.
Yep.
More
And
cigarette butts there, and
How was do you remember the condition of the body that you found? And
It
kind of
was
the
burned to a crisp. But the box that it was holding wasn't burnt.
and there were scorch marks on the shack, but it was not like burned
it was like
down.
flash fire,
Yeah, intense heat.
which is the same as the ranger station.
Correct. You see a lot of similar markings. So you guys got to the old ranger station. It's an almost identical layout to the one you were at with Leonard, Conrad, and Granty, except for it is clearly fucked up. The tower is collapsed off into the woods. You guys found some similar cigarettes. Clearly there's a trail developing here. You also found a can of tuna. You guys were traveling left and right. Birdie was traveling left.
Correct.
For the cardinally gifted, Birdie was taking the southern half of the ranger station, while Tate was taking the northern arc. All right, Tate, how about I'll head up along the left over there, and you take the right.
That works for me. I'd love to take this side. Still keep an eye on each other?
Absolutely.
Awesome.
Okay, so Birdie is moving to the left,
That is correct.
and Tate Clay is moving to the right.
Yes, sir.
Okay, and you're just trying to get like a scan of the perimeter, right?
Well, I think we're going like building to building.
Okay, Dubois, you're like moving toward the lodge then?
Correct.
And Tate, you're moving toward the stable. I'll start with where we left off then. Tate Clay, you get to the stable. You get inside, you're looking around. So far you don't see anything. Meanwhile, over to the right, near the lodge, Birdie, you hear something big moving in the woods. You hear a branch go, some brush shuffling around, and you hear... You recognize that there's a bear in the grass, in the trees, in the bush, somewhere in the green. You can make out a pretty good estimation of about where it is. Right about when it starts to charge at you.
Birdie is going to draw his revolver and simultaneously yell, "Bear! Bear!" And he's going to draw on it.
I'm going to need everybody to tell me their dexterity right now. We are in combat.
35 for Tate.
70 for Birdie.
given that you have a higher dexterity than the bear, you will... So it has kind of like a surprise round on you, but that surprise round is it running at you. As it's like in the bush, you're looking around, all of a sudden it charges through the trees and gets right up to you. It gets right up to you. You have just enough time to draw your pistol and fire. Now, in Call of Cthulhu, you can either fire once, which is like an aimed shot, or you can fire 3 times, but all 3 shots will be at disadvantage. You also have a revolver. It takes 1 full turn to reload it.
Birdie is going to fire 3 shots at this bear.
Draw. Bam, bam, bam.
Oh, yeah.
Go ahead and roll. Disadvantage for all of them, so you will have to roll twice and take the worst one.
All right, and that's 2d10.
Yep. Actually, I'm sorry. I'm gonna redo that. Since you drew this turn, I think you're only gonna have time for 1 shot. Fair?
Fair enough.
Okay.
Here is his 1 shot.
So just normal.
That is a 20.
What is your firearm stat? Handgun. I think that's a pass.
60.
Okay. So you hit it. Go ahead and roll damage. 1d8.
2.
Okay. It is now the bear's turn. So you might recognize it. The bear has black fur. So you take your shot. You rolled a 2 for damage.
Correct.
So the bullet smacks it in like the center mass and some of the big fatty fleshy area, and it doesn't seem to do a ton. It is almost unfazed as it comes at you. It stands up and goes to take a swipe at you. And right there in that moment, you notice that the bear looks a little fucked up already. And then it swipes at you. And it misses. It goes right over your head. Birdie, you manage to kind of like duck to the side a little bit. And then it goes in for another one. Birdie, you get a claw just barely grazing the side of your arm. You take 2 points of damage. Clay, it is now your turn.
Hearing Birdie yell, I think Tate would be, huh? What? What's going on out there? Then he hears the shots. And he will peek out the door and see the bear and take a shot at him with his rifle.
Okay, go ahead.
It's a 67 under 70.
Okay, so you hit it. Go ahead and roll damage. 2d6 plus 4.
Big money. 10.
10. Wow. Okay. So you turn around and quickly react. You raise your rifle. You've trained, you've practiced, you've shot at moving targets before. Hold your breath real quick and fire. You hit that thing square, and it like reels over to the side in pain. How'd a bear sound? Adrian. It falls over to the side. Birdie, it's your turn.
Birdie is going to immediately put 3 more rounds in this bear.
Okay, so roll all 3 of those twice. Take the worst option.
Okay, that is a 31 and a 50. So both first shot hits. There's a 94, so that second shot's a miss. Third shot is an 83, so I hit it 1 more time.
Okay, go ahead, roll damage.
That is an 8.
You rolled max damage?
I rolled max damage.
The thing charges out of the woods at you. You manage to hit a shot, grazing blow, do 2 points of damage. It gets up to you, swipes. You manage to duck out of 1, but just coming over the other direction, you get 1 in the arm, claw. It's bleeding. Tate hears what's going on, raises his rifle, takes aim, fires. Boom! Hits it square where he needs to hit it, and it falls over to the side. Birdie, you take your revolver and fire 3 times at it. Probably a little unsteady. Adrenaline is really pumping. You're bleeding out of your arm. Bam, bam, bam! 2 shots. Go high, go low, but the center one hits true right in the head. It's dead.
God damn it.
Birdie!
I got
You
it.
okay?
Yeah, he's done just a graze. Just a graze.
Let's
Keep looking.
Tate's
looking.
gonna go up to Birdie.
Birdie's gonna
Birdie.
holster his pistol and pull out a shotgun.
Wise.
Yeah.
Birdie,
Yeah.
there's no way they didn't hear that. Let's hide out in the woods for a little bit.
Hold on a sec. Let's they're far. right? We've been moving a minute, and we got to stay and assess for a moment, okay? Let me reload my revolver and keep your eyes out, man. There might be more than one. Probably not, but bears being solitary.
Let's be quick. Let's be quick and get you patched up.
All right.
How many hit points do you have in total, Birdie? Like 10?
14.
14.
Well, now I have 12 because I took 2.
Okay.
Birdie's a beast, dude.
Yeah, that's pretty good hit points. You still can get shot once and die.
Oh, yeah.
If he had landed, if Tate Clay had shot you the way he shot that bear, you would be unconscious and bleeding to death right now.
100%.
Yeah.
Because he would have been shot by a high-powered rifle.
Yeah.
That's a 5 and a 1 on the damage die.
Yeah, that's crazy. Okay, so you patch him up?
Not yet.
Okay.
Birdie's going to reload his revolver.
How many rounds?
He fired 4 rounds, so he needs to replace 4. Do you have the ammo count?
Yep.
All right, good.
You have... Would you like to know how many
Birdie
revolver
would
rounds
know.
you have?
Yeah.
You have 26 revolver rounds left and
That'll-
10 rounds of buckshot.
Perfect. We didn't come out here expecting to go to war, so that makes sense.
And mark your ammo down. Well, how much ammo do you have left?
14 now.
14 of the... What is
For
it,
the
30
rifle.
aught?
30 cal, yeah.
And then how many rounds for your revolver?
I didn't grab any ammo from home, just the fully loaded guns.
Okay.
Mhm.
You guys have killed the bear. Tate, you run up to Birdie. What do you guys want to do now that the bear's dead?
You want us to keep going and searching?
We're just going to keep heading west, and we have to search this place.
Well,
yes. I understand that.
Let's hurry up, because that was loud. You shot a whole lot.
True.
So let's hurry up, search these, and
the
we should
reason
probably stay off the trail for a little bit.
the reason I'm not as worried about it is because I get the sense that them ranger folks don't come beyond that barbed wire place. I feel like if anything happens out here, I don't think they're coming out, man.
Birdie could definitely be right. Rather safe than sorry, you know?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, how fast can a horse move down a trail like that?
Oh, it can move at a good clip, for sure. I mean, it's not the greatest trail in the world, but definitely faster than folks on foot. I'd say we got at least a good 3-4 hours on them. Now, I'd be amazed if they didn't hear your shot in particular, right? Just because rifles with the higher velocity, you know, that...
I'll let the bear get you next time.
No. Good shooting.
And he kind of slaps him lightly on the scratched arm.
No, I think there's the potential for too much valuable clues here for us to not do our due diligence.
Well, I'll get back to the stable.
All right, I'm going to get in that lodge. Thanks for patching me up.
Clay, you get to the stable. Go ahead and roll a search check for me.
Okay.
And while he's rolling that, Birdie, you're checking the lodge
And the shed.
and the shed. Okay, go ahead and roll a search check for both. That's fine.
Okay.
What were your rolls for the search?
Tate rolled a 44 under 60, searching the stable.
Birdie rolled a 34 under 70 for searching the shed and shack.
The stable, Clay, looks like it hasn't been used in a very long time. You do find all the things you would expect to find in a stable. Not that you're like a cavalryman, but in this day and age, you would be as familiar with horses as like the average person today is with cars. You know what I'm saying? You see some old brushes that are worn out and decrepit. You see spider webs. You see signs of animals just using and abusing this structure. The shed and the lodge, Birdie, it looks like almost an identical layout to the one that you were at earlier. As if the same builders had built it. Or people were copying someone else's homework.
Of course.
It looks, again, similar to kind of that shed. The beds have been chewed up by creatures. You see foam and feathers that have just like withered away over time. You see a couple holes in the floor where some kind of an animal has dug its way up, and there's like a mound of dirt on the floor. The cabinets are open. One of the cabinet doors hangs from a hinge where a spider web kind of glistens in the light. The footlockers are absent. You do not see footlockers. And the shed is empty. There's almost nothing in there. Some, like a nut bolt or a rusty nail, but it is otherwise empty.
Birdie is going to make his way to the ranger tower that is laying on its side.
You would meet Clay there.
Done.
Peeking around the fallen, correct?
Correct. Yeah, you're
Peeking around the fallen tower.
you're like out of the clearing. You're into the woods a little bit now.
And Tate's going towards the watchtower part of it, the top.
It looks like it snapped somewhere along the base. You get to the very top, like fire watch, ranger part of it. When you start looking around, it is flattened, on one side from having trees, moss, plants, vines have started to grow through it. When you get close to it, some birds kind of off, and a little squirrel runs away and chirps at you from up in a tree. Just then, Birdie gets to you.
Nothing in the shed or the lodge. Stables?
Stables are pretty empty. Your
Yeah.
typical stuff.
Yeah, got it. Well, let's go. We're here.
It's what's last.
Yeah, let's go take a peek.
I'll let you go on first. You got that fancy shotgun after all.
It doesn't look like there's much to go into.
We also didn't think there'd be a bear here, Birdie.
Yeah. Well, ears open.
If you guys would like to periodically roll, listen, or spot hidden checks, kind of to check your surrounding, please do.
Birdie would like to do that right now, actually, because his arm is still throbbing.
Okay.
That is a 64 over 60. That's a fail.
Okay.
It would have been a successful spot hidden.
I imagine he's nervously looking around the trees and the leaves, kind of like in Predator,
Oh, yeah.
when they're like, their eyes are wide and they're darting from shadow to shadow.
And each one of them has a different caliber weapon, and only one of them has a single canteen for a foray into the dense bush.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
They were the best of us.
Oh, yeah. Like a 5,000 round backpack of ammunition to just like burn through in 10 seconds. Epic. That isn't like one of my favorite action movies. It's,
Knock, knock.
They're dug in like an Alabama wood tick.
Anyways.
I ain't got time to bleed.
You got time to duck?
Thump. You've seen that movie before, right?
What one?
Predator.
I believe so.
With get to the chopper.
I think so.
Corina,
It's been a while.
get down. Get to the chopper.
All right, let's play.
Okay.
You ADHD having group nards.
I love Predator. Okay.
So do I. Not Predator 2.
Concrete Jungle was fine. Anyway, so you don't see anything in the woods, or hear anything, rather, because you rolled a listen check.
Tate's searching the top of the tower.
Roll a top of the tower search.
Tate rolled an 8 under 60.
It's difficult to navigate the inside of this place. Having rolled as well as you did, you could maybe tell what this used to be if you hadn't already visited one that, within the past 48 hours. You see remains of a candle, of a cot. You see some books, pages are just kind of crumpled up here and there, ripped out, chewed up. You see what maybe used to be a desk drawer, tangled up in a bunch of leaves in a pile of, lumber. You go to reach for the desk drawer, and you pull it, and you give it a little bit of a tug, and it kind of slides out. Inside, you find a journal, a leather-bound journal. Some other papers, some old maps. You unfold the maps. They don't look any more helpful than the one you already have. Some of the papers are weather reports. Oh, it's going to be 85 degrees and clear, looks like, that type of stuff. Looks like there used to be maybe a carrier pigeon here as well. You see some notes about that. You go to open up the journal.
Correct.
Do you go to show Birdie what you found? You're kind of a little uncomfortable where you're like climbing around inside this
Yeah,
thing.
I think Tate's gonna do like a really quick page check, see if there's writing on the pages.
There is writing in the pages. It is like
Close it and
3/4 of the way full.
Close it and crawl out.
Okay.
Birdie,
Yep.
let's get out of here and check this out. And he kind of flashes the journal up at him.
All right, sounds good. I'm just keeping an eye out here.
Let's go a little bit into the woods. I'm gonna have you look over this and I'll wrap that arm up for you quick.
All right, sounds good.
You guys might be starting to get a little, oh, it's lunchtime. Let's have, a can of...
I think we're more focused on what we just found.
Correct.
Well, but like you could sit down for, a couple minutes.
Well, we're
eating.
going into the woods right now
Okay.
to hunker down, look over this, and check over ourselves.
Okay.
You had a good point earlier. We should probably get a ways further west and then, take a spell and you can patch me up and we'll dig into that book you got there.
Let's get on our way then.
Let's do it.
How long about do you guys want to walk?
15 minutes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Find a comfortable yet secure-ish looking location. Big fallen down tree we can lay our backs against or something like that.
Yeah, when you're walking down a trail in the woods, there's clearly areas that you don't want to stop. And then every now and then you're like, if I needed to, I could spend a moment here.
I could dig a hole back there.
Yeah. Yep.
So you guys start making your way west from the old ranger station, and you manage to pick up another trail. It's continuing the same way that you're going. It is very light. Looks like maybe deer take this route once in a while. You do see some droppings. And you get to a small area that's just a little bit more clear than the rest. There's a log that appears to have fallen. It seems like it might make a good spot to sit for a little while.
Is this still on that game trail?
Right off to the right.
I think this will do.
Birdie, I kind of want to get a little more off the trail than this.
Yeah. I mean,
Let's just go about 10, 15 feet into the woods.
oh, okay. Yeah, we can do that. Why don't you lead the way?
I got it. And Tate marches off. I don't know, 30 feet into the woods.
You find a nice little rock to sit on.
Perfect.
Or just a larger tree with less undergrowth beneath it?
Yeah. So you get to a large tree that has it's a little bit clearer underneath. A couple mushrooms growing. And you pop open the journal. The very front page says, Station Logbook, handwritten, Ranger Obadiah Adams. You flip through it, and the majority of it is pretty mundane stuff about the animals and the trees and the birds and the sun setting and how beautiful it is between the two peaks off in the distance. You do notice a couple passages about animals being abnormally aggressive. And then toward the end, the last handful of entries, I'll just read them out loud to you guys because I didn't print them off.
I am ready. What does it say?
March 17th. There is no year. I am often left to my own devices up top this tower, left to my own thoughts, writings, readings, and the songs of the animals below. In all honesty, I had not thought much of them strange lights that, on great occasion, show themselves through the trees. My assumption had them to be a simple trick of the eye, a reflection of the stars above, or some such thing. A few men would mention them on passing, the corner of their eye or far atop a hill behind the trees. Much to my surprise, some men from the Forest Service showed up asking about them. Just yesterday they had come, 4 of them, with survey gear, to investigate the lights. Something seemed off by my determination, but I am no man of the mind. I showed them the map and they went off. Had the smell of city on them. March 20th. I found another one of the animals. Put the poor thing down. I've forgotten my count of the times I've had to fire upon one which charged. Creatures which are otherwise peaceful. Odd things and odd times. One of the men came by to send a bird back to Harriet's paunch for more supplies. But Based on their packs, I can't imagine they'd need much more. March 27th. Many more men came, carrying a tremendous amount of equipment. I'd think they were setting up to colonize the area. Some of their wares seemed rather scientific. Odd again, and odd again. March 28th. Heard a series of gunshots. Sounded more like a shootout than hunting. They won't tell me anything. Said they were scaring some wolves away, but I know better. It's not unheard of, I guess. Big dogs get hungry. Could be that the aggression seen in some of the other animals went and got into them. March 29th. Some of them same men returned informing me that I am being relocated to a different station away from here. They gave me some explanation about gases leaking from the earth itself being ignited by some spark of the earth. They said it was unsafe to stay at my station. Sounds like a load of horse crock, but I will do as I'm told. I suppose learned men may know more about those sciences than me, either way. I worry what they'll do with Marge. Her little lodge isn't exactly legal per se, but she never bothered nobody. She's a nice lady. Brings me a slab of meat every so often. The antlers hung on the door were a birthday gift from her, matter of fact. Strange woman, assuredly. Always rambling nonsense about them lights and that stream over west. Plus, the woman considers herself some sort of a philosopher, a poet. I'll say if she's a poet, then I'm the Pope, but irregardless, I hope them Forest Service folks are nicer to her than they were to me. Ranger Obadiah Adams signing out.
Birdie, this kind of gives me more questions than it answers.
Yeah, it sure does.
But I'm guessing burnt down shack we came by?
Yeah, it's probably old Marge. R.I.P. Here's what I make of it. Some folks came out here to look at something, and whatever they looked upon gave them the sense of profit because they brought more folks out here, right?
Profit or discovery? But I'm assuming
those are often the same, you know?
The gentleman in the other shacks, the other watchtower.
Mm-hmm.
This kind of confirms that they're with them, and they're probably not Forest Service.
Well, I mean, they didn't really have the Forest Service vibe about them anyway, did they?
Why would a government agency be shutting down another government agency?
Well, I mean, that's assuming it's a government agency, man. This could be private.
That's my point.
Yeah, so they come out here, they're taking a peek at something. They clearly find something that warrants more investment and time and manpower and material. But at the time of this journal, you know, that station we just left was up and running, and now it ain't. So I'm thinking whatever they found, let's just say they probably regretted finding it. And now they're in a cleanup mode, as it were, right? No one goes west.
It's been about 3 months.
3 months, you say?
Let me take care of the arm real quick.
Well, I mean, appreciate it. But why do you say 3 months?
It says here March.
But there ain't no year on it, man. This could have been last year. Could have been 3 years ago. I mean, look at how...
You know, I suppose you're right on that one.
Yeah, look at how...
And how new did you say that other ranger station was?
Well, the first one with our friends, that one hadn't been built more than a year or two past.
So it probably, and I'm just speculating here, probably has something to do with each other.
So the old one we left earlier, that one felt like there hadn't been anybody there, like that hadn't been running for at least a couple handful of years, minimum, right? I mean, the overgrowth.
See this? And he points towards, says, spark of the earth. See this? My guess is all these scorch marks here, and the scorch marks at the cabin are from whatever they say is the gases with the spark of the earth.
I mean,
So I've never heard of that, and I've been a few places.
Yeah, I mean, you know, we are in Pennsylvania, so there is a bunch of coal and ground gases and whatnot, but yeah, these seem too isolated. Like,
Too coincidental.
Yeah, old Marge, we assume. You know, her shack goes up in a bright flash.
Tate dumps some alcohol on your arm. and wraps it with gauze.
Are you rolling first aid or medicine?
This would be first aid.
Okay, first aid can only recover 1 HP per...
I took a little bit in medicine, but I don't think I'm outfitted to do it here.
Biggest thing right now is prevention.
Well, medicine is like, oh, you have the flu,
Yeah, okay.
let me treat it. First aid is like, oh, you're bleeding, let me stop it.
Should I roll first aid?
Yeah, go ahead and roll it.
Tate's first aid is 60. I rolled a 3 under 60.
Okay. Birdie heals 1 HP. So here's how it works. And for the listening audience, if you couldn't tell, we are also kind of learning. We usually play really rules light, more focusing on the narrative, and we are making a concerted effort to be a little bit more mindful of the rules. So please bear with us if we are doing something wrong. I am terribly sorry.
It's all Cody's fault.
And it's all my fault. No, it's not.
No apologies. Deal with it. Deal with it.
Okay, so the way it works, characters without a major wound heal 1 hit point per day. A successful first aid can heal 1 point. And there's a bunch of other shit. That's where we'll leave it right now. So you heal 1 point, and within 24 hours, you will heal another point.
That's a textbook bandage you got there.
Done it a couple of times. I would hope so.
Well, either way, appreciate it.
Absolutely. I gotta have you stick around for the fight.
Well, let's hope there ain't one.
Not a lot of men put 3-4 shots in a bear like that.
Well, only 2 of the 4 landed, but I appreciate you glossing over that fact.
I couldn't see it from the stables.
Either way, it got. So we got an outfit that spent a bunch of money and then maybe bit off more than they could chew, and now they're in damage control. Right?
Speaking about chewing, Tate digs through his bag and pulls out some lunch. That's absolutely what it sounds like.
Mhm.
Or they got the answers they were looking for and got something out of it. Regardless to say, they didn't stop anything. So they could be trying to do almost the same thing we're doing. They just got one hell of a jump on us, Birdie.
Yeah, it's possible.
I mean, the barbed wire, the extra tower. This book's looking like they only had 1 ranger out here originally. And now there's 3 fake ones.
Mm-hmm.
Something's off.
Yeah, that just means we gotta stay vigilant.
Can I have you guys roll a perception check?
Spot hidden. Listen.
Upper
Either.
Birdie rolls a 28 under 70 for spot hidden.
Tate rolls a 56 under 60 for listen.
Birdie, as you two are sitting there, and you're kind of on edge already, Clay pulls out some food, cracks open a tin, hands it to you with a spork, cracks open one for himself. Correct me if I'm ever describing something you guys and like, oh, he wouldn't do that.
He'd have a spoon.
You guys are chowing down on your lunch. Suddenly you realize the forest is quieter than it had been previously. You notice that, Clay, with your listen check. And you hear... Birdie, you look around a little bit. You notice that Clay has heard something. He makes a face as he's like looking around. You notice about 30 yards away, there's just a line 30 yards where there aren't any trees or brush or leaves. There's almost just like this little tube through all the foliage. And you see a silhouette. And at first you're not sure if that's just the shape of a tree or a log. Do you say anything?
Birdie's gonna put his hand on Tate's elbow. Like, not aggressive, just he's gonna, like, put his hand on it. And he's gonna raise his other hand and put his finger in front of his lips. In the universal sign of shh.
Tate looks up, looks at Birdie, looks back straight, and I see it, right?
Birdie's gonna point where he's looking.
So the finger he puts to his lips, he then points that direction?
his hand's still on his elbow.
When he points toward it, you kind of have to lean over a little bit. But then you see it. Yeah.
Tate will like rub his eyes, squint, and
When you squint to rub your eyes, Birdie, it moves. Quick. To the right, and it's gone.
Birdie is going to quietly... Let's see. He's sitting at the base of a tree. He's going to pull out his revolver first. And just have it up.
Tate opens his eyes and doesn't see nothing. Must have been the sun.
Birdie's going to let go of Tate's elbow and point both fingers with his non-shooting hand at his eyes, and then point again where he saw this silhouette move in the brush.
Birdie, there's nothing there.
Birdie's going to put the barrel of his revolver to his lips in the shh moment.
Tate just kind of shrugs and like, okay, and goes back to eating.
Birdie's going to grab his elbow again and squeeze it a little firmly. He's not trying to hurt him, but he's like, yeah.
Like, take this seriously.
Tate stops what he's doing and just plays along.
Birdie is going to lean in and ever so slightly whisper, "Movement, 30 yards, out there."
Tate will nod and raise his rifle and look down the scope. Do I see anything?
Birdie is going to then holster his revolver and pull out the shotgun, taking care to be quiet.
Do I see anything looking through the scope?
Roll a spot hidden.
45 under 60.
Looking through the rifle in that direction, you don't see anything. You guys sit there for a minute.
Birdie's going to move he has now shouldered his shotgun, and he's looking down the barrel, and he's going to nudge Tate with his elbow and move the barrel to the right. It went that way.
Tate's going to look directly behind him.
You slowly turn your head behind you. And just as you're turning, out of the very corner of your peripheral vision, you see something about 20 yards away duck into the brush and move quickly. You can hear a little bit.
Tuna. Tate will lay his rifle across his chest with a sling, hold out his can of food towards whatever it was he saw just move.
Birdie is watching the opposite way, by the way, of where he first saw the movement.
And Tate's gonna slowly bend down and set the food onto the ground and push it that direction.
Birdie's going to stand up, too, by the way. We were sitting, right?
Okay. A minute goes by. Nothing happens. How long do you guys want to wait?
Birdie, let's move.
Yeah.
Just that minute.
All right, let's get out of here. That looked like someone.
If you're hungry and looking for food, I got more. Let's have a chat.
Who the hell are you talking to?
Whoever or whatever, just hop behind the trees behind you.
Or you think that someone's out there lurking through the woods right now and they're just hungry for rations?
Look kind of humanoid.
Well.
And if it is, well, what's the key to every man's heart? His stomach.
Well, then shit, grab a can out of my pack real quick. I'll keep an eye and just leave some shit here, man.
Tate will grab a can of corned beef or Spam out of Birdie's pack and set it on the ground next to the open can of food and start to make his way back towards the trail. Still watching behind until we get to the trail.
Okay.
So I envisioned this as Birdie watching the 180 degrees from southwest and north, and Tate watching the opposite 180 degrees northeast, south.
Yes. Agreed.
Okay.
But now we're moving towards the trail.
How are you guys moving down the trail? Who's ahead? Are you guys, do you have like your shotgun and your rifles at the ready?
Shotgun definitely at the ready, not up and scanning, but at the low ready.
Low ready. Yep.
Tate's got his rifle slung, and by this point he would have moved it to his back. but walking around hand on pistol.
Okay.
Still holstered.
You guys are moving down the path west.
Correct.
As you guys move, you suddenly notice a bird start chirping. You notice a squirrel start moving around. You hear a woodpecker now. An owl. Hoo, hoo.
Birdie.
Yeah.
We got animals again.
Yeah, it got eerie there for a minute.
Weirdly quiet, right?
Yep, well,
I think that's
nature
probably
can sense
something.
things.
Probably something we should keep an eye on as we move a few more hours and find a spot to sleep.
Well, I can't wait. But yeah, we got to keep moving. And we're going to head west. We will maintain that heightened alertness for at least the next 20 minutes, half hour.
And Birdie's leading?
Yeah, Birdie's leading.
You guys walk for about another 35, 45 minutes. You get to a fork in the road. One goes left, one goes right. So they would be going like northwest and southwest.
Birdie's going to stop at the fork.
I don't suppose you want to split?
Hell no.
I hear you.
No, we're sticking together.
Why not?
Tate will grab out a quarter. Heads, we go left, and tails, I think we go right.
Yeah, I can't think of a better way to figure this out because this ain't on the map.
1 and 2 is heads. It's a 3. Tails.
We'll go right. Birdie is going to assess the sky. About what time is it?
1:30.
Looks like we got a few more hours in front of us.
Yeah, and I'd rather not camp out at a crossroads.
I hear you.
Mm-hmm.
I could probably use a break every now and then, too. This is just a lot of straight walking with quite a bit of weight on us.
True. And we're not going at a breakneck pace.
No, God, no.
We're going night. We're
walking.
We're being tactical.
3.5 miles an hour.
Yeah, at a good clip. That's probably
downhill.
Probably closer to 2 miles an hour.
Yeah, if that.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, there is a path.
Okay, so you guys take the right trail?
Correct.
The paths diverge. Southwest, northwest. You take the northwest trail. You walk for about 20 minutes, then another 10, another 20. It's pretty empty. Nothing out of the ordinary. And suddenly you see something up ahead. You get closer. And it just looks a little unusual. You get closer. When you get up to it, it appears to be a small cabin. Not a little shack, like an actual cabin. You can see it's been burned to the ground, set on fire. And it is a pile of ash. You can see some bricks from where the chimney used to be. You keep going? Or what would you like to do?
I mean, we got to check this out. Okay. When it's is it just like a small clearing with a chimney and a bunch of ash?
No, I mean, there's some logs that didn't get burned all the way and shit like that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it looks like a cabin got burned down.
No standing structures.
No.
All right.
Birdie, I'm going to dig through it a little bit.
I mean, we kind of got to at this point.
At this point.
Roll for it, young man.
That's a 0-0-0.
Okay, so you rolled a 100. Critical fail. So you dig through the ash a little bit, and there's a lot of course, growth. The forest has kind of started to retake this area. What did you roll?
A 100.
Oh, you rolled a 100. That's right. Okay. There's a section of the burned down cabin where a bush that appears to have been growing along the side of it has started to encroach inside where the cabin walls used to be. There's a pile of ash and burned debris. You reach your hand in there and you grab something. You feel it, and it feels like maybe a box or something like that. And you go to like pull it out, and your arm just does not come out. You realize suddenly you're stuck.
Birdie?
Yep, what is it? Birdie says, shotgun now at the high ready. Yep.
I think something's eating my hand.
What?
Yeah.
Birdie's going to make his way over to Tate.
As he walks up, Tate will do the whole, like, trying to pull your arm away. It's stuck.
Just stay
on a
still.
Box or something.
Just stay still. Let me, Birdie's going to use the butt of his shotgun to spread debris away from where his arm is.
You can see up to his elbow, and then inside, his arm is stuck, like just above his elbow, and you can't really see beyond that. It's like he reached his hand into a hole, and he just can't get it out. You guys don't have flashlights; they don't exist, so you can't exactly get an angle down in there.
Mm-hmm. All right, well, just stay still real quick. I'm gonna brush some of the stuff away from your arm there. Birdie's gonna start brushing debris away from his arm.
Tate will use his other hand to grab a smoke.
You'd have to use like a strength check because it's logs. You know what I mean?
He got his arm pinched.
Yeah.
All right, well, hold on a sec. Before you get all weird, let's just look at this. Birdie's going to assess the situation.
So there's these logs and bricks, trees, branches, leaves. You brush some of it aside, and a whole mixture of all this stuff is there's this perfect arm-sized hole that he managed to stick his hand into, and for some reason he can't get it out. You feel like you would have to roll a pretty high strength check to pull him out, and depending on what is stuck, it might hurt. Young man, take Clay. It feels like your arm is kind of stuck at the wrist area, but it's hard to tell without being able to see it.
All right, so you got yourself in a bit of a jam here. Before I just start lifting stuff, maybe make matters worse, where's it pinching?
Kind of hard to tell.
Well, all right, well, tell you what, I'm going to move nice.
It seems like it's around my hand, maybe a little higher.
All right, well,
It's almost all the way up to my elbow, Birdie.
well I'm going to ask the dumb question first. Can you not take your hand out because you're holding on to something?
Roll an intelligence check.
That is a 49 under 85.
You let go of the box, and suddenly your hand is more free. You pull it out.
Nope.
He said, nope.
Tate lets go of the box and will, like, give a really good show of grabbing his bicep with the other hand and, like, yanking his arm out as hard as he can. And then it just, whoom, pops free, and Tate kind of falls back onto his back. Lays there and pulls out a smoke, lights it up, and is like, something's weird here going on, Birdie.
Well, yeah, yep. I think it might be you being weird this time, but, all right, well, why'd you have your hand in that hole in the first place? What's going on?
Just trying to find stuff, man.
Well, did you find anything?
What? Hole that eats your arms? Some sort of maybe a box in there, probably a corner of a window, though.
Maybe a box, probably a corner of a window. Well, shit. On the maybe it's a box theory, let's start clearing this away. Birdie's going to start lifting shit away and kind of...
Tate will work in tandem.
Well, okay. It's going to take a lot of work to kind of move this stuff around. How much?
Put it in man minutes.
Well, I was going to ask, how many hours do you want to spend on it?
Oh, well, shit, man. If there's something down there...
I think Tate spends about, 2 minutes. And he goes, Birdie, I got a lot of pain pulling this arm out. I can't do this too much.
Well, I mean, something tells me this... I mean, look at this place, man. It burnt to the ground. What are we going to find in here that ain't already consumed?
An arm-eating hole of something? Big old worm?
Man, that ain't no arm-eating hole.
You stick your hand in there.
I'm not...
You're
no.
scared.
Scared? More like practical.
Regardless, let's go.
Yeah. Yeah, there ain't much here.
And
We vamonos. We leave.
You guys continue moving west. Another 15 minutes. Another 15 minutes. Another 30 minutes.
Tate's like nursing his arm this whole time.
It doesn't actually hurt that bad,
I know.
but you're just like,
Putting a show on.
yeah. Maybe you feel like really embarrassed and you're trying to like make it seem not, worse than it actually was.
Yes, exactly.
Birdie's seen more than one sandbagger in his life, and he knows that he's watching a show.
Deal. After about an hour and a half of walking down this trail, it's now about 3:30. You notice what looks to have been a wooden fence post with its beams broken at the other end. Ahead is another clearing. The trees seem to have been converted into small buildings, similar to the ones you found earlier. The largest sits in the middle, its eastern wall having collapsed. Two smaller looking shacks, cabins. They look similar to the one that you found along the trail earlier with the corpse inside. They sit covered in green and life of the forest. What do you do?
Well, we got to check it out.
Yeah, let's check it out. Let's take a short break over here, though, too.
Yeah.
We've been going nonstop ever since you got attacked by that bear.
And you know something? I'd like a little bit of clearing, to see what's coming at us, if anything does decide to come at us.
And some shelter in those little cabins.
You know something? You're right. I understand. It's probably, 4 o'clock or something like that, but we ain't going to find better than this.
I hear you. Maybe we should let's check them out and bunk down for a little while.
Deal. Get a good night's sleep, well, good as we can, and start fresh tomorrow.
Okay. So you have this larger building in the middle of this clearing that appears to have once had a wooden fence around it. The larger building is like twice the size of the lodge that you found at the ranger stations. And those lodges could hold, 6 people?
I think 8.
8 people, sure. It's about twice the size of that building. And then you see 2 smaller ones that look like that shack you'd found earlier. You guys have your conversation. What are you doing? You're checking them out, but can you describe to me?
This was a low volume conversation on the path.
I see. As you're approaching it,
As we're looking at it.
I see.
I'll take that one. You take the other. We meet in the middle.
All right, so we each take the smaller and then meet for the larger.
You heard it.
All right. Birdie is going to take the further western building.
And Tate will head towards the other.
Tate, you get up to this building. You notice one small difference between this one and the one that you had found along the trail is that this one does not have any windows. The door is slightly open. You go to open it the rest of the way?
Correct.
You have to really push it. The wood has warped, so the door is being pushed against the ground, and you have to really give it some elbow. Somebody observing maybe would notice that the arm you're acting like hurts maybe doesn't hurt all that much all of a sudden.
He's in a different room.
And it's exactly if someone was observing, which no one is. You get your way in, and it looks like a tool shed. You find hammers, drills, big hand drills. You find some really long saws, as long as can fit in this shed. You find a couple boxes. One has normal size nails that are all rusted together, and the other has larger nails that are also all rusted together. Birdie, you get to yours, and the door is broken, or as if it was pushed outside a little bit too hard. It is holding on purely by the friction of the wood. The hinges are broken. It was opened up the wrong way. You know what I'm saying? With intense force.
So is the door further outside from the building?
Yes.
Okay.
Well. It's the door is still in the doorway, but it is like jammed into the doorway facing the wrong direction.
Got it. Oh, that's weird.
You go inside, I assume.
Yes.
You find an almost identical situation to the earlier shack. Some burn marks, like a flash flame had happened. Inside, you find the charred remains of somebody, their mouth wide open.
Birdie's going to do a cursory inspection of the body.
You can now see what the inside of one of these looks like when the bunk is not collapsed like the previous one was, although it is not in good shape. Clearly, the elements have not been kind to the interior, nor have the animals. And the corpse, it has some dirt on it, a lot of dust. There's some animal debris. There's even like a clump of fur on it. It looks like there used to be a uniform. It is like if you sucked all of the moisture out of somebody, but also like they're charred. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely. Desiccated and, seared.
Correct. Black teeth barely stick to the skull.
The product of intense heat.
Do you want to go through like the cabinets and stuff like that?
Oh, yeah.
Similarly to what you had found at the previous one. Not to be redundant, but maybe to be a little bit redundant. You find within these cabinets some old cans of food. The labels glued to the side of them have fallen off or worn off. They look old. I don't know if you
We're
trust
not
them.
going to eat them.
Yeah, unless, it was do or die.
Oh, then I'd be eating the shit out of them.
Yeah.
But, no.
You find two distinct piles of clothes that have been chewed through, kind of eaten up, probably by moths.
And there ain't nothing here. Birdie's going to leave the shack and make his way to the main lodge. He's not going to go in, though, until Tate's ready.
Okay. While you're here in this opening, like to make any other rolls?
What?
Tate's got too much of a one-track
Are there any
mind.
rolls that you want to roll right now?
Oh, rolls.
Tate's
rolls?
got too much of a one-track mind.
Okay.
I thought you said rules. Birdie's going to walk up to the front of the larger structure. Assuming he gets there before Tate, he is going to do a hard listen.
Okay, go ahead.
That is an 81 over 60. That is a fail.
So you failed your listen check.
Mm-hmm.
You guys get up to this larger building. As I had said, about the eastern half of it is collapsed in on itself. It is about 5 o'clock.
Yep.
We will see what the inside of the building is next time.
Ooh.